Hey, what's up, guys? So, today, this video, we're tackling controversial subject. It's probably just controversial because everybody talks about it because it seems to be true. It's part of an ancient or old idea, belief, structure system that people just pass down to the present day, and they accept it as true. Most men accept it as true. You can probably guess money. What what role does money play in the attraction of women? What does it mean? Does it help? What is it for? Right? So, in first place, we'll discuss the reason that it exists, right? Because we evolved in a society where men were the caretakers of women, and women received the care, especially in pregnancy, during times when they needed it the most. And men were supposed to provide food, shelter, etc., for the maintenance of the species, passing on the genetics, and so on and so forth. And money is seen as a function of this, right? But we live in a society now where women can actually earn a living for themselves, especially in 2024. When I'm recording this, I don't know when you're watching this, but in 2024, there's a lot of women, especially in terms of partner statistics. There's a lot of women who out earn their man. It happens now. It's very, very common. So, in the sense that resources needed to be provided to women before, anciently, I don't want to say prehistorically, but that tended to be true. But as women have increased in the ability to provide for themselves, they don't need a man to give them money because they have access to businesses, business loans, and they can get jobs of all types. So that's not part of the worry anymore. Obviously, it helps. You're starting a family, you're getting a woman pregnant, it helps. But she technically could take care of that herself with her job, her business, whatever she does. So it's just a passed down idea because of the way society was structured, right? The provider mentality, the provider ethos. And that's what made it a necessity. I was going to say that's what made it attractive. And now I thought about, well, maybe that's not the right word, right? That's what had made it a necessity. Because there's actually two types of men, right? We have lover and we have the provider. So the lover is the guy who actually has the sex and donates the genes, as we can call it, right? That we can explain it in those terms. And the provider is the man who takes care of the offspring. Those do not need to be the same men. There are tons of examples where they are not the same men, right? If you live, well, most of us, we still have warriors, military fighters. But think in ancient society, right? The warriors were the most manly. The warriors were the strongest. The warriors were the most attractive to women. So in many cases, women would love to mate with these guys. They would love to have sex and carry their offspring. But these guys lived a short, brutal life, and they were often away from home if they didn't die. So what does that mean? That means that They're the ones who reproduce, technically, right? She's getting the best genes from them, but the man who takes care of the offspring is a different person. So that's where the split is between lover and provider. And that still exists today. That still exists today. You'll see a lot of girls who go for the bad boy. The bad boy is considered the lover archetype. It fits in that. The warrior, the spirit, right? The man who lives his own life. He goes out on the edge. He takes the risk. He takes the chances. But after that guy, right, maybe she's often afraid of losing him because he's such a free spirit, because he operates on his type of time, his ideas, that she'll go and get a provider type man to be more stable, right? And it's not that she's attracted to the provider type man more so than the lover. The lover is the one who really does it for her. But to bring some semblance of stability, she'll go to the provider. So tying this all back together, it's a provider type idea, right? We're still looking at it from the lens of lover versus provider. What I think also gets lost in the conversation about money is how you make money. There's nothing wrong with having money as a man, obviously, but how do you make money? If you have a guy who is attempting to be more attractive to girls, who does want to have a little bit of cash and have that as a reason, I guess a logical reason to help him with women, it should be noted that this money has to come from something that you do passionately. It comes from here. It comes from your heart, right? If you make $100,000 a minute, but you're doing something you hate, you complain about all the time, you bitch and you moan, you bring that energy to her. There's a lot of guys who have this, right? There's a lot of guys who are in this situation. They do make a lot of money, but they hate it and it's draining. That's not very attractive. A man, as a man, is supposed to be able to circumscribe, define his world by his ideas, his beliefs, the rules and the boundaries he sets. And if you as a man are settling for money but complaining about the way that you do it because you think merely having money is enough, then you're wrong, right? And you're shooting yourself in the foot. So a man who makes 40,000 tops a year, doing what he loves, what is bringing in the best out in him, and not only that, but this work allows him to bless and help and elevate other people, women are going to respond much better to that than to the guy who makes, like I said, 100K a minute, but he absolutely hates it, and it's a worthless job, and it's useless, and it's not really bringing much value to the world at large. So that needs to be thought about as well, right? How are you coming about this? It's a well-known fact. I think Jordan Peterson did a study on it. Marnie, the wing girl, she also referenced the study. Inherited wealth is not seen as attractive. So wealth in and of itself can be seen as not attractive. Because if you got it from your parents or great-grandfather, etc., you didn't have to do anything. That shows nothing about your character. It shows nothing about your growth and development, your mind, your ability to manage resources and grow them. It says, mommy and daddy gave you a nice bag of cash. And that might not reflect very well on you, especially if you haven't developed the other areas of your life. So that should be kept in mind. It's how you make that money, how that comes to you. So to recap, it can help if you see the dichotomy, lover versus provider, and we'll talk more about this. I'll make more videos, content. Lover versus provider. It's a provider type idea. It can help in certain circumstances, in certain situations. It's not the end all be all. It's not the way to start. It's not the main thing to focus on. And we live in an age where women can do this themselves. So they don't need you for money. They need you for a total experience as a man. You need to be able to bring the lover experience. Right? Because going back to ancient times, being with the warrior, being with a man who pushes boundaries, lives on his edge, is always pushing past his comfort zone, is always striving and growing to be his best. That's part of the experience that the lover brings to the table. The provider is just the stability. And in an age when women can do it themselves, if all you've got is you got a nice bank account, you're in trouble. So keep that in mind. In trouble, especially if you hate what you do or you've gotten the money from a distant relative or something like that. So it's all about you developing an attractive personality, character, an attractive life, stepping up and becoming the best man that you can be. In essence, if huge amounts of money play a role in that, then so be it. But if not, it's all about your growth and development and what you bring to the table. So I hope that helps. Hope you got a lot from it.